When it comes down to it, there's only one song that's going to probably best describe this podcast.
The secret side of me, I never let you see. I keep it caged, but I can't control it. So stay away from me, the beast is ugly. I feel the rage and I just can't hold it. It's scratching on the walls, in the closet, in the halls. It comes awake and I can't control it. Hiding under the bed, in my body, in my head. Why won't somebody come and save me from this? Make it end. I feel it deep within, it's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become, the nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster. I feel like a monster.
Hello everybody, welcome to this special edition of, I guess you could call it Wrestling Fridays, just a little bonus episode for everybody here. Of course, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a shoot, which I haven't done in probably, I want to say maybe about a year and a half I haven't done something like this. But before we get into that, there's actually a lot of news that needs to get covered this week. So let's just get right into it. First things first, we'll start in the realm of WWE. Jack Swagger was just released via request, I believe. Yes, it was via his request. He requested his release and WWE granted it, so best of luck in Jack Swagger's future endeavors. I don't really consider it too much of a loss for Swagger, not as of late, because he really wasn't doing too much. I mean, you look at his accomplishments that he's had throughout the years. I mean, he's a former United States champion, a former World Heavyweight champion, former Money in the Bank holder, but really that's it. I mean, they really did not do very well in capitalizing off of the Jack Swagger world title situation, except for having that great matchup with Randy Orton at that year's Extreme Rules. But then after that, they made him look like an absolute joke of a champion. They really didn't do that much with him. I would have thought that he would have had a really good run as the United States champion, but then that went down the toilet when he lost the title to Santino Marella. He probably lost a lot of his credibility, and I thought the revitalization with him and Zeb Coulter would have really helped him, because I thought the Real American gimmick kind of worked with him. It seemed to just fit it seemed like it fit him perfectly, but again, that just kind of fell into it just did not work out at all. I don't know what's going to happen with Jack Swagger. There's not been really any rumors on whether he's going to continue on, maybe go into independent wrestling, or if he's going to, retire, go into some other line of work. Best of luck in all your future endeavors, Jack. I know that a lot of us really haven't been too high on you, but we do wish for nothing but the best. You did put a lot into the company. I'm willing to admit that. Let's go into, let's see here, what else can we talk? Let's see, what else was there? Oh, yes. This is actually going to be a lot of Impact Wrestling related news. Starting off, I mentioned it on Monday and talked a bit with AJ. Broken Matt and Brother Nero, they are no longer a part of TNA Impact, opening the possibility of having them compete at this year's WrestleMania, which would be quite interesting, to say the least. I think that would be an absolutely amazing way for them to make a debut. What I mentioned on Monday was that I had an idea that would probably really benefit the Hardys the most, because it would work with their storyline of being the greatest tag team in all of space and time, and that's doing this. I would love to see at WrestleMania them doing this deal in which they have two title unification matches in which they combine the women's divisions and the tag team divisions together and have them each go on a separate brand. I would have the women's division go on Raw, and I would have the tag team division go on SmackDown. The reason being is because with Raw, even though they've had a very minuscule roster as far as women goes, they've actually had a lot more memorable matches, and that is mainly due to the fact of Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, as well as Nia Jax. On SmackDown, there really hasn't been too much going on there, except for, I think, Becky Lynch, versus Alexa Bliss, and Nikki having all those various feuds with either Carmella or Natalya. So I would definitely have all of the women go straight to Raw so that maybe they can have more of a chance to shine. And I would have the tag teams go on SmackDown because I think the SmackDown tag team division has actually shown a lot more, whether it be the Heath Slater, Hire Me, I Have Kids deal, whether it's the new Usos with their new gimmick, American Alpha. I just would think that they would benefit a lot more on SmackDown. It just seems to make more sense. And plus, they would get rid of those god-awful title. Oh my gosh. The fact that they went into a red and bluish kind of deal, or gold and silver, just why? It just made absolutely no sense. I do not understand. But yeah, I would definitely have that happen. It would just seems to make the most sense, really. But going back into Impact Wrestling, not only did they suffer a loss with the Hardys, but they lost Drew Galloway, and it's very evident that he's probably going to leave after last night's airing of TNA Impact Wrestling, I should say, where he lost the Grand Championship to Moose. Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis-Bennett are also gone as well. And also there's rumors going around that Jade, former TNA Knockouts champion, is gone from Impact Wrestling as well. So Drew Galloway is definitely going to be one of those guys who's going to be a hot free agent, and he is very talented, very good in the ring. And I got the chance to interview him about a year and a half ago. Really great guy, and I think that no matter where he goes, he is going to shine immensely. I know in What Culture Wrestling he is their current heavyweight champion, so that is good to see him have a really good title run there. Maria and Mike Bennett, they are probably one of the hottest heels in wrestling today. Now, I know that's mainly because of Maria, because she does such an amazing job at being just this bitch of a heel who really just makes it so that, you hate her. The whole thing with Allie and bringing in Braxton Sutter, there we go. That storyline was just really well done. And I think that the ultimate payoff of Allie just going crazy and just beating up on Maria, that was just so worth it. I think that there's probably going to be a tag match in which the losing team is fired, so it's probably going to be Braxton Sutter and Allie against Maria and Mike Bennett, where this might send them on their way. The whole Jade situation kind of surprises me a bit, but she also is a very talented woman. She's really good in the ring, evident to her last knockout standing match last night against Rosemary. Gee, that was just an amazing matchup. She definitely has a lot of good years left in her, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Jade in the near future. Whether it be working in the independent scene, or maybe they'll pick her up for NXT. I think she would make a great asset to the NXT women's roster, or even up to the main roster in WWE. Speaking of that, actually, Asuka has been added to a lot of main roster events, including the live event that's going to be happening in Madison Square Garden due to Naomi being injured. This could be a great opportunity for her to just go out there and prove that she's ready for the main roster, and how they would have her lose the title, that's still going to be yet to be seen. So I don't know if they're going to have her maybe drop the belt to Ember Moon or to Nikki Cross, but it seems like they haven't really capitalized on the whole Nikki Cross thing, which is really weird. But I know that Asuka had a great women's championship title defense against Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce looked amazing. Of course, physically and wrestling-wise. Oh my gosh, she did a phenomenal job. So Definitely looking forward to seeing Peyton Royce get called up to the main roster soon. At least I hope she does. Her and Billie Kay are just phenomenal together. So you can't really have one without the other, but I think that Peyton Royce is going to be the one that shines the most. Trying to think if there's anything else. Let's see here. Talked about a lot of the releases. I think the whole thing with, what really got me was the whole Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis Bennett, because they were actually out of a contract and they were actually getting paid appearance by appearance. So really it just was kind of one of those things where they were on borrowed time, I guess. So now they're going to definitely be, again, hot free agents. Mike Bennett is a tremendous athlete, and I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully come to NXT. I think that it would be really cool to see, Mike Bennett versus Bobby Roode or Cassius Ohno. Maybe Mike Bennett versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, man, that would actually be a really cool matchup to see. Just quite a bit going into this upcoming new year. So that is really it for wrestling-related news that I can think of offhand. I know that we got Fastlane coming up this Sunday. The prediction show for the Elite Ringside Network Heavyweight Championship happened last night. I'm going to kind of give my thoughts on this, and I don't want people to think that I have any issue with my two co-hosts, although one of them I'm going to be actually doing a bit of a shoot on in just a minute. So last night was the the prediction show for Fastlane, and it featured Spencer Hart versus the Elite Ringside Network Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Chris Lockman. This was it was a bit of an interesting ordeal. I'm not saying that, it sucked or it was horrible. It was just one of those shows where they really talked a lot about, statistics, or Chris definitely mentioned a lot about like the betting odds, and that's where he's kind of getting his trying to think of what you call it. His predictions. That's where he's kind of getting his predictions from, which I could understand that, but I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things where you kind of listen to it and think you're more going on the betting odds than what you kind of feel is what. I think that's the thing, is that I am one of the reasons why I've probably been losing so much in these prediction deals is that I don't go off of too many of the rumors. I don't go off of too many of the, betting odds or stuff like that. I more go with how I feel things should go. Because as a wrestling fan, I do love the business. I do love, watching it, and I love when they create a good product. It's kind of one of those things where, it's kind of showing a bit of biasness towards some people, but also I will admit that maybe I have been listening to a couple of the rumor mills and stuff like that. But right now, it's more factoring down to, what makes sense. Does it make sense to have, Enzo and Cass win the tag team titles this Sunday? Not really, because Enzo and Cass are not as big a deal as what they were before. I mean, back when they debuted about almost a year ago, actually, they were probably one of the hottest tag teams to ever step foot in, the ring. And it seems, I don't want to sound mean by saying this, but it seems like ever since Enzo had that whole incident with the concussion, he really went downhill, really. I mean, Big Cass definitely shined as a huge main event player. Even upper mid-carder. I think he's going to definitely be one of those guys that WWE is going to keep around for a long time. Enzo's just kind of got one of those guys who just really gets kind of annoying, and you can kind of see some of his wrestling not really fitting too well in the ring. I mean, he's kind of like the guy who's kind of there. He's kind of like, if they were like the Three Stooges, he's kind of like the Larry. He's kind of there. He's kind of one of those guys who just doesn't fit too well, I guess. So when I see them win the tag team titles, I'm hoping it's going to be a, great build-up. I'm hoping that it'll be something that, people will be very excited for. Right now, it's just at the point where it's like, I'm not quite there yet when it comes down to wanting them being the tag team champions. So hopefully we'll see that in the near future that they start getting that momentum, they start becoming what they were back in NXT, and they become something flat out amazing. But I don't know, that's just my opinion.